Did you know that in some states, happy hour promotions are actually illegal?
What?
That's right. Discounted drinks can get you in trouble at the bar. And why is this happening? Let's dive into some surprising reasons behind these laws. Happy hour is big. We're in South Florida.
Yeah, it's huge here.
And I'm telling you,
Even at home, when I was growing up in Virginia, it was huge there.
New York too. I remember New York being big on happy
absolutely.
hour. And it's one of those things where, as a server in this industry, remember we didn't really experience a lot of happy hours because we were usually working.
Yeah.
Particularly the happy hours to go like Thursday and Friday, big happy hour towards the end of the week. And it was magical when we finally did do the happy hour.
What actually we did was on a Monday.
Was it?
We stepped out, because we did Martini Monday after.
That is so true. And it was still fire.
It was magical.
It was a Monday.
It was.
Man, I'm telling you. And we got ripped up. Oof. We got ripped up. And I'll tell you why. There are a handful of states where happy hour is illegal. And I kind of get it. I get it and I don't.
Are they like the same states are they talking like Utah?
What you getting at? I mean, historically, Utah does have stricter alcohol laws and things like that. Oddly enough, not gun laws. We do have a list of the states where happy hour is prohibited.
Were any of them you surprised that you saw?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. One or two were very surprising. And we're going to get into that later in the show. I really want to talk about the whole premise of happy hour and why it is that some states look at it as
like
as
a negative
potential,
thing?
Yes, as a negative thing. And
because I know why we do it here.
Talk to me.
I think it's really simple. When you're at, and happy hour is a bar thing. So there's places that adopt it to the whole restaurant, but for the most part, any place that I've ever been to, it's at the bar only.
Bar promotion.
And it creates people sitting at the bar. It creates that early bird. It's almost like an early bird special. It brings people in.
So you're talking about why they do it from a restaurant perspective.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
It brings people in, and it keeps them at the bar. And the idea is to keep them at the bar, or at least to go sit down after, so that you are promoting business throughout the whole shift.
Correct. Usually happy hour is going to be around 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. 4
to 6, 3 to... We'll start as early as... We'll do the full spectrum. From 3 to 7 is usually... It ranges from different places. Some places are 4 to 7. Some places are 3 to 6. Some places are 3 to 5. But the 3 to 7 are usually those... Between those hours, you're going to find a happy hour somewhere. You can almost find it not anywhere, but there's going to be a spot that has a happy hour starting at 3, and there's going to be a spot that has a happy hour that goes till 7.
Right, usually, and it's discounted drinks, and
food too,
and food, because food's a very big. Food's gonna keep you there. The drinks are gonna make you money.
Yeah, the drinks are gonna maximize your profit. The food was keeping the guests from being completely belligerent.
Obliterated.
Both. I put it together in one word. Belligerently obliterated.
Well, you know what's funny is that for some reason, happy hour is usually happy. You don't usually get the angry people at happy hour. That usually comes at night.
And I think the whole idea comes from because you're getting off of work and you need that time to digest. It's that happy hour for you.
I don't know whether the origin. I didn't in my research. I didn't come across why it's called happy hour and why it's not. It's only. You say happy hour instead of happy hours.
Yes.
Right? It's never just an hour.
No.
But for whatever reason, discounted food and drinks, and you said it really well. It's going to fill a time where the restaurant's usually slow.
Absolutely.
And it's usually Monday through Friday. We do ours Monday through Saturday. Now, just because Saturday was kind of lacking for the bartenders at the beginning of the shift. So you see where, from the restaurant point of view, yes, you get discounted food and drinks, but you get people in the building.
That's key.
And there's always, let's say you have, there's always a percentage of people left over from happy hour
every time
that do get some full-time drinks within
or they might stay for dinner or whatever.
Yeah.
Or you'll have those people that roll over that, like what I tell people at my spot is, oh, they'll call and be like, oh, you know, we want to come in at X, Y, Z. I said, why don't you come in a little early? Because you might have to wait for your table. Go to the bar, get a little happier, and then come sit down. And it coincides and sells both. So now you're selling them on that full meal, which they were going to come for anyways. But you're also giving them a little special in the beginning, if you make it make sense.
Why are states going to look at it? Some states going to look at it negatively.
Yeah.
We are giving people an incentive
to come drink.
To come drink in a short amount of time for a discounted price, yes, but it promotes binge drinking according to
what they're saying?
Yes, according to what they're saying. Now, you asked me about the states. Let's talk about those states. And I'll talk to you, I'll describe the one that I was very surprised, which was Massachusetts.
Really?
Right.
Those beer drinking MFs, yo, they come down here and go ham again.
Yes.
Yo, that's really funny, actually.
And
because they're some of the first people to ask about a happy hour.
They didn't have it. They don't have it. And so they in 1984 outlawed happy hour.
Really?
After
84, okay,
right?
Because I remember I had a friend from Massachusetts, and he said back in the day he was grandfathered into the law of being 18 to drink.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's kind of funny that they
had an early drinking age.
Yeah, they had an early. They were 8. Yeah, they had the 18.
But a lot of states did though.
Okay.
This 21 thing started to push back later and later. There were some states, and it's not uniform. I believe in states like, if I'm not mistaken, Louisiana. Maybe to this day you can drink underage with your parents.
Really?
Yeah, Louisiana, Texas, something like that. Don't get me wrong. I mean, this was a few years ago. I knew this.
We had talked about it in a show previously.
I believe so. Some states, it's legal to drink as long as your parents are present. And some states, it was 18, and they started to
push it back
to 21 for whatever reason, but that's a different show.
Yeah.
Now, Massachusetts surprised me as one that didn't have happy hour, but their original ban on happy hour came after a series of drunk driving accidents. They responded with putting that law in.
That makes sense.
And right, when you look at it like that, drinking and driving is really something that has taken so much from so many people that you almost really don't even want to deal with any ideas of excess drinking, binge drinking, promoting that. And
drink responsibly, people. Now Uber is abundant, so you guys don't have really any excuses.
Well, states are really quite different, right? And if you look at the landscape of for instance, when I go to Texas to visit my buddy, Suit Man, it is so sprawling.
Yes.
Right? Like, even an Uber is prohibitive. We took an Uber.
Yeah.
It took there were very few Ubers.
And they took a long time to get there?
It took a long time to get there. And I was very conscious of getting an Uber before the last thing, you know, because then you get surge pricing because you're in a concentrated area and you're going all the way out. And so I see where there's an incentive to drink and drive. Yeah. Or I shouldn't say that. I see where there's an incentive to want to drive home.
Without having to worry about it, yes.
Right. You know, and so a place like Massachusetts, it's really, I mean, outside of Boston, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's
a lot of
there's a lot of driving.
You're right.
You really, so I see where now let's go through the list. Alaska.
I can see that.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know why they would do it to them, because those poor people have nothing to do. But I could see that for the same reason why you're saying Massachusetts and stuff like that. But they're just but they're so separated. I would figure like, yo, fuck it, who cares? What, you gonna run into a fucking mountain?
Well, I've never been to Alaska, but I can imagine in our minds. Have you been to Alaska?
No.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking that we're thinking. We're thinking it's so spread out.
Yeah.
I'm thinking the opposite. I'm thinking there's so much wild wilderness open. There's only a few cities that there's a concentration of people.
That's very true.
Right? So that's how I imagine that Alaska is kind of laid out. There's a couple of cities, you know, maybe close to the port or whatever, and outside of that, you're really in
Yeah.
in nature and wilderness and things like that.
True. You're 100%.
You ain't even driving anywhere because you ain't going nowhere.
Exactly.
So then Alaska, we talked about Massachusetts, North Carolina. Interesting. I mean, North Carolina has some weird liquor laws. I remember.
Yeah, because they're so like, I mean, and they're right in the middle of a corridor where there's a lot of stuff that you know. Yes.
A lot of things going down
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Oklahoma,
Okay.
Rhode Island,
Really?
right, and Utah. You
yes.
call that one, and Vermont.
Okay.
So it's interesting that there's some Northeast in there, and then the Alaskans,
Like some really old beginning of times. They, Vermont, Rhode Island, and Massachusetts. They're all some of the first settlements.
True.
So you're talking like the beginning, and that's really funny.
Now, one notable one that came off the list, which is Indiana. I believe it to be July of 2024.
They just introduced happy hour.
They reintroduced happy hour. They turned over their.
Now, the other places that we were talking about, that Darnley, were they more like Massachusetts, where they got rid of it?
That I don't know, but it exists the ban exists in different ways in different states where you can't have a discount on alcohol, or then some places you can't have a ladies' night.
I got you.
Right?
So they just can't do anything really.
They can't do anything. And so there's an impact on these businesses, but there's also an impact on the state.
Yeah.
So some states really don't want to even overturn the happy hour thing because it's more revenue for them from taxes.
Yeah.
Because you're selling. Why not sell at full price?
Especially if they don't know.
What do you mean?
Like if you've lived there your whole life, it's not gonna be something that you even
Yeah, I agree with you. But what we're talking about here is competition. If you and I own a separate restaurants, I want to get people in my doors. I'm going to offer a happy hour to get more people in and do all the things 100%. That we talked about. So it's really...
And they can't do any specials. So you got to be like, so what do you got to promote? You'd be like, I do this XYZ all the time. It's just a $5 drink. It is not a special. It's $5 all the time.
I wonder if that's a loophole.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like... It's
because
just $5.
You can't set my prices, but I can't fluctuate them. Oh, man, what a missed opportunity. I wonder if, oh, my God, is that a way around?
Maybe.
If you're in these states, is it cheaper to drink there in general?
Yeah, that would make sense to me. Or I'm going to call the Murph, because remember, they're in Rhode Island. I want to know.
Yeah.
But, and I also know that there was a bar that they said you could bring your own liquor to, that they worked at.
Yeah, but that's a whole separate
separate law.
Because there are some places, like I remember going to Cape May, New Jersey, and that you bring in your own liquor because the establishment doesn't have a liquor license.
Oh, okay.
Because you always want to sell liquor. Forget food. There's a limited food cost.
Yeah.
Not a limited food cost. There's a limited
margin
profit margin that you could do on food. Booze
Alcohol
is like...
it's 10x. It's ridiculous.
One bottle of booze is getting you...
It makes you money.
It keeps your doors open.
Alcohol keeps you open.
Right.
It pays the bills.
Agreed. And so what we're talking about here is, the dry counties of them all and things like that. That's separate. But happy hour, yes, there are going to be the states that the municipalities are going to push back on happy hour because of the optics of it, right? We talked about promoting... binge drinking, drunk driving. And some would argue that these laws the bans are promoting responsible drinking. But it can also hurt the small businesses and limiting their promotion capacity. Exactly. So if you're in one of these states that ban, do you miss it? Let us know, or you can email me. themodernwaiter@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram @themodernwaiterpodcast. And if you enjoy this type of content, we just did one on, check out our video on chicken wing appropriation.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah, that was a good show. And definitely say yes to happy hour or no to happy hour. What are your thoughts? We do the show for you each and every week. I'm Marlon Joseph, the Modern Waiter.
I'm Danny Villain. Subscribe, people.
We We'll see you next week.
Later.
Yeah. What's up? Yo, BMR in the building.
That's right.
Raw Dog the Pain. Give it to me. How you feel? Nice little easy flow.